Hey, you guys, how are you?
Good afternoon, or morning, or night,
evening, or middle
whatever
of the
you want it to be.
exactly beautiful
Rachel will
sunny
be
day.
in the middle of the night because Rachel watches us in the middle of the night from Australia.
So Rachel at the moment might be tucked into her doona.
What is that dinner?
No, doona. She would know that she's very comfortable, all cuddled up in a doona.
Is this because
I've
you've been
never
watching
heard of
too
that
many
one.
episodes of Below the Deck?
No, it's because I'm learning things.
Okay.
Look at you.
A duvet cover is what we have.
Yeah.
A duvet. And down under in Melbourne and other places, they'd be using a doona. That's what I was told by my friend Liza.
Is she your F-45 burner?
She's a burner. You would, if you were having a burner, you would throw the doona on the ground. That's my guess. If you were boiling hot.
Talking about Down Under.
See,
Men
get
at
dirty,
Work
Adam.
Down Under. Sorry, I'm making it a whoop.
whoop, whoop.
Men at Work Down Under. Was that released in the 90s?
No, it was the 80s, like 1982 or 3.
Can I still say something about Down Under by Men at Work?
Please.
There's this new remix by Lude, Luude. It's amazing. Go listen to it. It sounds current. It's amazing.
Cool.
And it's a remix. It's a cover of
Nice.
Down
Was
Under.
it done by Thunderpuss?
No, by Lude. Luude.
Lude.
Amazing. End of the parenthesis. Let's go back to the show.
Sharon.
Nice. All right. Well, we're getting into it today. There's a lot of male going on in the show today. A lot of testosterone. Well, you know what? Not too much testosterone, probably a good balance of it, because I think the 75-year-old that we'll talk about has less in the way of testosterone, more in the way of, giant success that we love. So we're going to tell you which rock star thinks that bands are for teenagers. This from a guy who was a teenager when he was in his very successful band. You probably won't have a hard time or be surprised when we tell you about another artist whose solo career is doing really well, but he'd rather be in a band. And when you compare and contrast the two stories, they'll make complete sense. We're also going to wrangle a Canadian country star. See what I did there? Wrangle. Yep. I know. Nice. And the guy is in 98 Degrees. But first, that 75-year-old that I was talking about, of course, we're going to do Kelly's trivia. We've got a 90s rewind that'll take us to the end of our favorite decade. Springtime 99. Good times. But Elton John and his tour that continues, which I think will go on forever.
Yeah.
Because in normal times when it was forecast, it was banked for forecast to be like 3 years. And then, 2 years got taken up by COVID. And I guess within all of that, why not work on new music? Right? Because you're 75.
Because you're Elton John.
Because you're Elton John.
And you just can't stop.
Exactly. And you know what? Again, this tour will command a lot of time for him, the better part of a couple of years still. But he's hardworking. He loves music, period. He loves new music. He likes discovering new music, and he likes working with the artists that are making it. And obviously he's made the most of his time while everything was on hold. He also recently was honored at the Global Awards Mass Appeal. He was given the prize for Mass Appeal. Again, no surprise. This is the guy who presented himself in fine form in the early 70s and really hasn't stopped. And it was at the awards that he kind of let it slip that more new music is on the way. And again, not surprising. He's got let me drop a big word on you. A plethora of of music to draw from. Yeah, he's been going, man. He's a goer. He likes making music, which is really cool. Sidebar, a few years back, when it was a few years after him and Elton John and Billy Joel did the tour, the dueling pianos, or not dueling pianos. They were doing each other's songs, but they toured together. And it was after that Elton John sort of expressed his disbelief that Billy Joel isn't making new music and doesn't have an interest in it. When you consider that comment was probably like, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. And he's been nonstop. Like, he just makes music. So when accepting the award for Mass Appeal, he let it slip. been working in this industry for a long time. He says over 50 years, and it's still a real joy to be making and releasing music and knowing that the songs many people enjoy tuning in and hearing those songs being played on the radio. In fact, even after all this time, there's still the utter thrill as an artist when you hear your music played on air for the very first time.
I'm sure it is.
Wow. No doubt. Gosh. And we know how solid a songwriter he is and a great performer. So we can look forward to new music from Elton John.
What's really cool too is, as you and I and Adam have discussed before, is that he loves discovering like up and coming artists. Like he was one of the first ones on the Ed Sheeran bandwagon, like, you know, in 2012 or whatever. He's become good friends with Dua Lipa. He was good friends with Lady Gaga. Like she's the godmother of his kid or one of them. Like it's just, you know, and now like he's even talking about Ollie Alexander from Years and Years, collaborating with, you know, Dua Lipa as well. Like it's just, he's got street cred for days.
Oh yeah, no kidding. And I think that songwriters gravitate towards songwriters too. And he's an OG.
Yeah, but now when he got, because like the Cold Heart from Dua Lipa song, like I think it went to #1. So isn't that like his 6th decade or something, or 5th decade of having like a #1 song?
Yep, that was the distinction that was made when that happened. That he'd had hit music within 6 different decades. Crazy
bananas.
Yeah.
By the way, I know we don't have a lot of females to talk about today, but I did want to mention, this is sidebar, Madonna.
Madonna.
I follow her. I'm sure you do as well, Sharon. Not sure about you, Adam, but on the Instagram.
Yep.
And she posted. Do you, Adam?
I think I unfollowed her one day because she was posting so much, and I was like, I can't handle this anymore. It's been a while back.
Rehandle it, Adam.
Okay.
So she recently,
let me know about it.
She recently posted, I think in the last 24 hours, she's in the studio working on new tunes. Speaking of new tunes, and this is what I love. She said something like the caption was something to the effect of "music and sushi saves my life" or "saved my life." And so it's these pictures of Madonna like in the studio, like working on new music. And then at one point, I guess they got like sushi as a lunch break or a dinner break, whatever. But what I wanted to mention more so out of all of this is that like you both know that I've recorded music before. So when I go to the studio, I try to be in the most comfortable clothing possible so that I feel like I'm feeling my vibe. I got all my stuff going on. I would like to say that I've never seen Madonna more. I can't, like, she looked like she was going to a strip club because she had leather jackets on, fishnet things. I think she was in high heels, like fully makeup, the whole thing. And I'm like, I guess she needs to get in that vibe to record her music. Like
you just said you need to get in your vibe. Well, she needs to get in hers.
But normally, like, sorry, go Sharon, go.
I was just gonna say her vibe lately has been like, what's her vibe all about? Like she's been a bit different with her posts.
Yeah, and she's also like always hardly wearing clothing. Like she's almost, it's always like some kind of fishnet cat suit. Like
she's got the grills going on too in her teeth, and she's she's had something done, but she's like zooming into the tight shot with a weird pucker and pulling back. There's some stuff, man. But at the end of the day, she's Badada.
She is. I applaud her because we've all seen behind the scenes of whatever music that we like, and usually even the most whoever artist is usually in comfy clothing. You know what I mean? Like when they're recording, like they usually are in some level, like no binding jeans so that you can record with your get all your air. So the fact that she's in like these swimsuits basically with fishnets.
Yeah.
I got it. I love that girl. Go girl.
Like the comfort that we are displaying on the show today.
Yeah.
I just realized before I came down to my office that I had one last glimpse of my hair that was basically gym head, because I thought I won't shower. I'll shower, but I won't wash my hair. I'll save that for tomorrow morning before work. And I'm like, oh, wait a sec. You don't look good. Yeah. So there's a hat for that, and I'm wearing it.
I love it. Before we get to trivia, do I give you some listener feedback, or do we do trivia first?
Oh,
go ahead.
You like, if it's good, go there. If it's not good, don't.
All right, it's great. So, as always, a wonderful shout out to Rachel and Ginger Bear, who I love. Now they have like a communication going on our YouTube channel.
Very good.
Like they talk to each other and respond. Like it's very cool. So I love that we have an Australian and a New Zealander having a good time together. And Ginger a Bear still says, stay hot.
Nice.
But I wanted to give a shout out because we have a new listener who has decided to make their presence known. So
yes.
I wanted to give a shout out to Carolyn Jones. I do not know where Carolyn is from, but maybe now when she watches the show, or this episode, she will let us know where she's from. But she says, so much fun to listen to you guys, ! Hi, Sharon, Kelly, and Adam. Fantastic podcast. Love the 90s. I'm in my 50s, so this brings back many memories. Keep up the great work. And then she gave a thumbs up to everyone.
I can tell you who Carolyn Jones is.
Is she your friend?
Well, she's a listener of our radio station at Chaume in Montreal, and huge fan of the station and of music and of all things fun. So I'm not surprised at all that she's listening to the podcast. So thanks, Carolyn.
Yeah.
Thumbs up back to you.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So should we do some trivia?
Ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
90s. Now, trivia.
Bing bong.
Bing bong.
By the way, I think you both saw that our clip of the week was me looking very enthused about Adam's response from trivia last week.
Like a proud mama bear. Oh, good, Adam.
Yeah.
Are just getting higher and higher and higher.
Oh, yeah. So I'll try not to be over enthusiastic on anything you come up with today, Adam.
Maybe just be happy when I get it. How about that?
And by the way, we mentioned this last week, but a quick happy birthday to Sharon, who
happy birthday,
her birthday.
Sharon.
Thank
you very much. The birthday festival continues.
Yeah. Can you, before we do this, quickly tell them about your birthday donuts, which I had never in my life put these ingredients in my mind.
Okay, well, and it's amazing. It felt like a victory because Kelly came in my studio and I had bought donuts, or Deb had bought donuts for me to bring to work and share from our favorite place called Bernie Bang, which is French for donut, as Adam very well knows, and Kelly too. But Kelly was like, no, can't do it. I'm trying to keep things healthy. I'm like, just take a quarter of this donut. And it was a donut with a maple glaze and bacon on top, which when you think of it, maple syrup, bacon, everybody loves that. So these extremely fresh donuts, it's a mind blow. So that Kelly said, okay, I'll try it. And then liked it. I was like, hell yes. I'm not sure why I felt it as such a great victory, but a delicious one nonetheless. Those donuts are incredible. I swear also that I've got a great group of friends that have, I guess, kept me fed over the past few days because I got a lot of food given to me. We had a cake delivered to our show this morning. Sorry, a cake each delivered.
A cake what?
A cake for each of us, one each.
Oh,
a cheesecake even, okay? So one of the young people in the office that gets the mail and brings stuff up, her name is Magali. She brought up the 3 boxes and put them down, and we didn't know how strong she was until we tried to lift up each of our own boxes. So from a listener who may be a new listener to this podcast, he brought us each a cheesecake because he's a caterer. He has a few businesses going. I weighed the cake when I got home because it was remarkably heavy. And so on my little scale, the cake clocked in at 7 pounds, 0.46. So just about 7.5 pounds.
That's more than babies.
Yeah, I know. It's
That's
compelling.
Crazy.
That's a cheesecake.
That is a heavy cheesecake. That's a solid cheesecake.
So it's hard to watch your waistline when
you'll be at the gym for the next 6 months, Sharon.
Easily.
All right. So question number 1 for trivia. What was the original name of Starburst Candies? P.S. I thought Starburst Candies was the original name of Starburst.
Yeah, that's sort of what you're reading in my face right now. Huh?
Yeah.
What was the original name? So that original name was in the 90s, or was it before the 90s? Were they called Starburst in the 90s?
In the 90s. It's all 90s questions, right? So,
but maybe the original name was in the 90s and then it changed its name after.
Okay, Sharon.
Go, Sharon.
Oral explosion.
Oh my God, no.
I'm not going to comment on that. I have no idea.
First
Chewy?
of all, Sharon, where did you even come up with that?
Because it's a burst of refreshing fruit flavor for you. Starburst.
Also true. So the answer, and this is like, when I say this, you like, I don't think any of us would have had any clue. Opal fruits.
Mine was better.
Huh.
Yeah.
Come on. Oral explosion.
Hashtag Sharon wins for the week. Yeah. That was good. All right. So question number 2. Which famous twin actors featured as Barbie's friends in Tied All Together, Sharon's year of 1999?
Barbie's friends?
Yep.
I want to go obvious, and yet I want to go deeper. Sharon.
Can you go much deeper than oral explosion?
If I had a nickel for every time I was asked that question, I would have no nickels. I'm going to guess the Olsen twins.
Yes, Sharon. Good job.
Well, that was
Thank
easy.
you.
How was
Was
that
it,
easy?
Adam?
You didn't say it.
Well, because I figured it couldn't be the answer. Like, it had to be something else than the only obvious answer there was.
That's what
It's
I
funny,
thought.
I
It's
think
either
it's-
obvious or it's weird. But it
When
was
I read the
obvious.
question and I saw the answer, I would have not guessed them actually. Like I guess, I mean, yeah, I guess I would have just thought it was like an older person at that, because they would have been like what, 10, not even 5, 7, 8, something like that in the 90s.
Yeah, I thought if it was less than obvious, I was going to guess. What are the Sweet Life with Zach and Cody? What's their names? One of them's on
Don't know.
Riverdale now.
Isn't it Zach and Cody?
Is that their real name?
I think
That was their character names. Sweet Life, Suite. I know too much about this
You know
show
a
that
little
was
too
not
much.
in my demographic at all. But I'd come home from the clubs and I'd pop on the Sweet Life with Zach and Cody. No, I'm just kidding.
Adam, can you also tell me how old what year the Olsen twins were born? Because I would like to, because now they got to be what, 30, 32-ish, 33-ish.
I would bet that they were like 89, 90s.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, first of all, so
Maybe.
Zach and Cody were Dylan Sprouse and Cole Sprouse.
Oh,
Dylan
right,
Cole
yes.
Sprouse.
Mhm.
Yep. Thank you.
Olsen twins. Birth.
Adam, before you say, I'm going to guess. So I think, so Sharon, you say 80, 89?
89, 90. Yep.
So Jodie Sweetin is 40, as we said.
Yes.
So maybe
That makes her born in 82.
bananas. I'm going to say 87.
And the point goes to Kelly Alexander.
Hey.
Well, close enough. You were closer. The year is 86.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
June 13th, 1986.
Cool.
So that puts them at 35 years old.
Bananas. Okay.
They're not babies anymore.
No. And they rarely speak in public.
Why would they?
They don't need to. They have so much coin.
Bajillionaires.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to talk to you. Thanks,
Yeah.
anyways.
Back to you, Sharon.
Back to me. How about this? Sting. He's the
What
kind of
about
guy.
him?
He's the kind of guy that's been there and done that. Why? He's 70. That's why. He's been around long enough to sort of make his way there and do that.
Hopefully not forget his way back.
Where am I? Roxanne. He says when it comes to being in a band, he describes the experience as being a teenage gang. He
Mhm.
says, I don't think any grown man can be in a band, actually. Which is funny when you think of all the grown men, even older than him, let's say the Rolling Stones, that are still in a band and they're doing just fine with it. He says, a band is a teenage gang. Who wants to be in a teenage gang when you're knocking 70? It doesn't allow you to evolve. I kind of think that's funny. I kind of think that's also typically Sting at the same time. Like he's
Is
got
he-
an
is this the-
opinion and he's not afraid to tell you he's right about it.
Is this yeah, because like to me, this is the first time I've actually ever heard him be like, I don't even know what I'm sure he said it with no tone, but it's like it's got tone. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
'cause
I'm
even-
sure he did say it with tone. That's funny that you would think he wouldn't. I think he totally would be tone filled.
I guess I haven't watched enough. Like, I only ever really watch him sing. I don't think I've ever watched too many interviews with him. So yeah, I don't know his personality, but again, like, it's just like when we've talked about Liam Gallagher in the past, like, and Noel, why they have to say names of people, like maybe just don't say, but like, cause he didn't Sting called out like AC/DC and was it
And the Rolling Stones. Yeah, yeah. saying that it's hard to see growth in their music. Like, okay,
Well,
I don't
Why
know,
would he
man.
say
Like,
that? Why would he say that? It's so like not necessary.
well, the fact that they're making music, these bands that are pleasing their fans and selling out arenas still. The Rolling Stones still sell out very high price tickets. Same with AC/DC. These are their fans love their music. Are they
Mhm.
looking to recreate the wheel every single time? Is that a rule that you have to do that, or you're just making music because you love the music that you're making?
And
Do
that's the
you?
thing too, is like if you have it, like I get that certain artists and bands want to evolve, and like you even see that from project to project, but there's a reason, for example, like with me and Janet, that like, all of a sudden she's not gonna do ska, probably. Know what I
Right.
mean?
Yep.
Which is totally fine, but like I go to her because she does pop and R&B and like soul, and like I love her voice, and that's how it is. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So like if she was
Yeah.
all of a sudden whip out a country song, like I'd still love it, but it wouldn't be like Rhythm Nation for me.
And the thing about like the Stones and AC/DC, yeah, they make, kind of a similar sound each time, but they're achieving. It's not like they're struggling to make that sound. So I think that's where you celebrate the band that you love. They still sound like the band that you've always loved.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like this is such a ridiculous, and I love Sting, but I'm a bit incredulous. That's my big word of the show.
I think
Um,
his character is intact. And I don't think he's a bad guy. He's entitled
No.
to his opinion, but I think it's not such a far stretch for him to have this opinion.
I disagree on this one, Sharon. I don't think he should have said it.
Oh, well, there you are. But are you surprised that he did?
Well, yeah, I guess like I guess any interview I've ever seen with him, and again, not many, he's always just come across as like a pretty cool dude. So
But
I
he wears
guess
a scarf.
he wears too much of a scarf.
He wears a scarf, like in non-scarf weather.
Is it a scarf or an ascot?
It's a tone. Well, either one. I'm sure he'd be fine with each. Now, it's funny that you mentioned Liam Gallagher, because that would be I think the easy guess about who would fit into that gang mentality just fine. And when you compare his solo success, which is going great
yeah.
for him, like he's doing really well. But he describes it as it's boring as F. It's boring AF. To be fair, he said it ain't what it's meant to be. I'd much rather be in a band, all bashing it out together. But as long as it sounds good, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
But he'd rather be in the teenage gang.
well, I don't, and what I also love is that he basically said to all of his fans, "Don't look too closely into my lyrics because they don't mean anything."
Don't overthink it, right?
I love it.
And that's so funny to me because like obviously most artists are like, I wrote about this because like this happened, and like I went through this, and I'm hoping that like people relate to it and whatever. And he's like, whatever, if it sounds good, let's go with it.
Well, the funny thing too is that there were what seemed to, at least to my ear, some lyrical suggestions that he was like sounding apologetic, wanting to bury the hatchet, just certain lyrics. And and everybody wants Oasis to get back together to do at least just one more show or a handful of shows or a tour or whatever. And so you hear lyrics like that and you're like, is he apologizing to his brother? Is he, owning his part in whatever sort of brotherly battle they've been waging for decades? And I guess no, if he's telling us not to look too deeply into it, don't overthink it. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's him. He says, I know who I am. I'm very happy with what I'm about. It was probably that they want more power. I don't know. He's typical Liam Gallagher, though. He's in it. He speaks his mind again, whether you ask him or not. But
maybe he
get the
and
straight
Sting
deal.
should go in a band together.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? I can see a fist fight soon if they were a band. I think, you know what, when it comes to Sting, he was that kind of an artist that he had an idea of how he wanted things to be. And I think that's when the Police sort of came to their end. Each of the individuals in the band, at least Sting and Stuart Copeland, I think they had personality clashes for seeing how they were supposed to move forward.
In the article, right, that it was a struggle a bit to get through that last reunion that they did do together. So
for sure, they probably shouldn't have done it, but good for them for doing it when they did, because then it's done. No one's, as much as people would love to I'm sure to see the Police again, they're not thinking it's ever going to happen.
Mm-hmm. I have to say though, like with Guns N' Roses actually making it work, and I never thought they would get back together. I
Yeah.
still have hope for Liam and Noel.
Me too. Me too. I think why not? Like,
Mm.
but why not? I guess they have their reasons. Why not? And they've told us why not before.
Yeah.
No.
More than off.
Yeah. No thanks. Yeah. So I teased a little bit about the Canadian country star that wrangled in 98 degrees.
Yeah.
I'm very pleased with that joke. Enough to have said it twice. Clearly. The beautiful harmonies from our favorite decade, somewhat provided by 98 degrees. There was lots of harmonies in our favorite decade, but 98 degrees certainly gave us quite a few. And getting together with Brett Kissel. I don't know enough about Brett Kissel, and I'm not even sure why they got together, but I'm pretty happy that they did.
I think it's amazing that they met at an award show, and that just seemed to create a relationship. And so we've got our Canadian cowboy crooner with some 98 degrees action.
It's neat that that Brett Kissel himself referred to it as the quickest collab that has ever happened in my entire life. Makes you wonder how many collabs have happened before, but kind of cool at the same time. I think of the bands that come from our favorite decade here on 90s now, I think that what we've seen from a lot of them is that they're keen to keep working. I think artists are keen to keep working, period.
Mhm.
But they're ready and they make themselves available. So it's neat when they can tie things together with a guy, an up and comer like Brett Kissel.
Yeah, exactly.
Good on everybody there.
And I'm so happy that like they're doing their thing, like 98 degrees, like the Lachey brothers and like the other two in the band that I do know. Jeffrey is one of them, right? And then
Kathy and Susan.
I can't believe I'm forgetting their names. Anyway, they're very cutesy, happy they're doing stuff. And like even, new kids right now are getting ready because they're hitting their tour in the summer, their mixtape tour that they do. I believe En Vogue is with them this time, and maybe Naughty by Nature again, something like that. But I just think it's great. And like New Edition still doing their thing. Like it's awesome.
Yeah, it's and it's fun because it's such a sweet spot. The 90s are a sweet spot for a lot of people. So it's cool. See, that's why Carolyn mentioned that she loves listening.
Yeah.
It works. And it's
does.
still happening. How about this, you guys? Since we've referred to 98 degrees, we can talk about the sweet sounds of them with our 90s rewind.
Nice.
You ready for it?
Ready.
Yeah.
Born ready. Well, 98 degrees, I think because of their sweet sound, made the hardest thing seem easy. That was a big hit from them in 1999.
Nice one.
Faith, thank you very much. Faith Evans, her second solo album following the death of her man, Biggie Smalls. And of the 15 songs on Keep the Faith, I like it.
Yep.
Great album, as you know. She is co-writer on all but 2 of those songs. And an album that features a whole bunch of Puff Daddy on it. And the song All Night Long called in some old school vibes and just sounds so good, even now, wouldn't you say?
Agreed.
Then there were a couple of signature hits that were in the charts in the springtime of 1999. How about this one? Sixpence None the Richer.
Haven't heard their name in a while.
Yeah. Yeah. And the song Kiss Me was doing very well. That just was one of those songs. And still, I think you hear the opening strums and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
it totally takes you right back. And how about Eagle Eye Cherry?
Great one.
Similarly, I think there's like 3 or 4 chords and they just repeat the whole song, but it's so catchy. The song's called Save Tonight. Huge hit for him. And while Cher was in the top 10 with Believe, the song that basically is to blame for the introduction and use of auto-tune. Thanks, Cher. The Backstreet Boys were on the rise up the charts with I Want It That Way.
Huge hit.
Love it.
BSB for life.
Yeah. Guess what, you guys? That's your 90s rewind.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Loving
Sharon.
it. Cool. Well, what else do you want to talk about?
I guess we could talk about Madonna's fishnets stockings. Again. That's a treat. Just follow her on Instagram because she puts them out at least once a week. So
I'll try following her back again.
you should, Adam.
I'll
It's a
go.
treat.
You'll see how long you last. Just for reference, if you ever hear me say badada, it's a callback to a time in radio where the announcer fancied himself, usually himself. He had to deliver the hits, and it was very throaty and very badada. So that's what I think of whenever I say the name like that. It makes me laugh. So now you know.
Yeah.
Badada.
I love it.
Loving it. Thank you guys very much. Always fun to hang
Hang time.
you guys. And next time we get together to talk about an oral explosion, I will look forward to that.
That might be our clip of the week, Sharon.
It was an oral explosion. Anywho, thanks to everybody for finding us wherever it is that you do that, wherever it is that you are, and for taking us along for the ride. We appreciate it. Thank you for listening to 90s Now. Still happening.